Welcome to the Trader's Journey podcast, the podcast that will take us on a journey to grow from a struggling trader to an independent and profitable one. I'm your host, Amber.
And I'm Peter.
We are individual traders trying to make it in the markets and want to share our experience and the lessons learned along the way. Our goal is for you to learn from our mistakes and profit along the way.
Grab your notebooks and sharpen your pencils because we are going on a journey.
Welcome, everyone, to the debut episode of the Trader's Journey podcast. We are super excited to begin and share our journey to becoming profitable traders. I'm your host, Amber, and I'm here with my partner, Peter. Our journey into trading began just like you and many other traders. This first episode will help you get to know us and how we got into trading. Without further ado, let's get into it.
So, Amber, when did you first get into trading?
Let's see. I got into trading around 2014. I had exposure into the markets through 401k, but I wasn't really happy with the growth. So I bought an investing book, learned the basics on investing, and then opened a discount brokerage account and started trading penny stocks on my own. And that did not go very well. So that was my first experience in trading. Was, like most people, it was a losing experience. But it was actually pretty educational, so that's one of the reasons I'm still going. What about you?
Right on. I got introduced to the market about 2.5 years ago. I joined this free trading room in Discord, and I initially started out by swing trading. And at first it was okay, but as time went on, I realized that it limited me to being able to get out of a position at a certain time or adding to a position at a certain time. So I learned quickly that day trading is a thing and that I can get in and out of positions intraday. So I adjusted my work schedule to allow me to day trade. And for the past 6 months, I've been trading full time.
Wow, that's amazing. So, you know, there's a few different styles of trading out there. What kind of trader do you think you are, and what is your primary focus?
For the most part, I am an intraday trader. I wouldn't really call myself a scalper. My average hold time for me would probably be anywhere between 10 minutes to an hour. But the longer I'm doing this, the more it makes me want to start swing trading and doing some long-term investing more, because day trading is hard. It's very hard. And with swing trading, you have time on your side. And I think that's what I need. I need more time in my trades and let the trades work out instead of getting in and out within an hour. I mean, hopefully eventually I can become consistent with my day trades, but recently I think I need to start swing trading and investing more. What about you? What kind of trading do you do?
Right on. I would consider myself primarily an intraday trader, but I do have long-term investments and I do occasionally swing trade. But, you know, surprisingly, I've actually been more profitable swing trading, and that's primarily due to market conditions at the time that I took my swing trades. But I think I need to get back into swing trading and more into long-term investing, because at the end of the day, I'm still trying to find what type of trader I am and trying to find what works best for me. You know, there's so much information out there, so many styles of trading. I'm exposing myself to as much as I can, and I'm just trying to find what works for me and where I can find some consistency.
Right. And like, especially for me, I am relatively new to the market, and I don't know what kind of trader I am yet. So the more exposure I have to all the different types, I think the quicker I'll find out what kind of trader I am. So, what kind of different trading instruments do you use?
So I started off with stocks and equities, and then I think that's just a natural progression. Everyone starts out with stocks, and then they get exposed to options, and then more recently, I've been doing a little bit of Forex. I am actually getting more interested in Forex at the moment because I find it to be a little easier to manage my risk, and because most of the Forex trades that I've been doing, they're swing plays. And like you mentioned before, it kind of gives you time for the trade to work in your favor. And when it comes to managing risk, you can take very small position sizes. So you're not going to blow your account on one trade. It's a very small risk, and it keeps me calmer as a trader. And if I am in a drawdown, I'm okay, because I just look for additional opportunities to maybe add to my position, maybe reevaluate my current position if I want to cut my loss. And if I do cut my loss, it's very short. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it, versus all the sleep I've lost losing on options and stocks. What about yourself?
I also started out with equity. I have traded options, I've traded Forex, but I have not traded futures. And my favorite would probably be options, mostly because you have defined risk on each trade. You know the max amount that you can lose on each trade, and I love that about options. But I also do really like Forex, because Forex, it really follows the rules. There's not too much manipulation with Forex. So it follows trend lines, it follows support and resistance, and I really like that about Forex, because you can get into some really good trades, and for the most part, they work out.
So what you're saying is Forex follows the basics. We all start off learning support and resistance and trend lines. So it seems like, to me, I would be a better trader if I start out with Forex, because it's the best way to learn the basics.
Absolutely. Yep. I think Forex is definitely the best type of instrument that you should be trading starting off.
Speaking of starting off, most people like us get into trading, signing up for any sort of like trading or alert services. Have you signed up for any of these services in the past?
I have. Did join one room that was free. It being free, I didn't really gain much from it, but that was sort of in the beginning, so I did get a lot of exposure from it. And probably a couple months ago, I also got into another one, and that one actually cost me like $60 to get into. And at first, it was okay, but I quickly found out that trading someone else's strategy and following their callouts and alerts, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work for me. I like trading my own strategy and creating something that's comfortable for me. And when you're with a service and they're calling everything out, I just can't trade like that, because it's their trade plan. You don't know when to get out. You don't know what your stop is, and that's just not a smart way to trade. What about you? What kind of services have you been in?
I'm guilty of signing up for a penny stocking service. And, when going down the YouTube rabbit hole of day trading videos, you get all these advertisements for, people promising the life of being a millionaire and how easy it is. So I did sign up with a penny stocking service for about, I think it was around $300, and then I funded a like $500 offshore trading account to avoid PDT. And I proceeded to blow that account in about 4 months. But it did teach me that trading isn't easy, and it's going to take a toll on you mentally, emotionally, socially, and of course, financially. But, I guess the good thing out of it is you have to, it's a money down the drain, right? But it's actually worth it if you've learned something. And kind of to your point, where you can't blindly follow somebody's alerts unless you figure out or reverse engineer how this individual came up with his alerts. Where did his picks come from? How did he determine his stops? How did he determine the profit target? And that's the only way that you're going to develop your own strategy or figure out or get into the mind of the stock service analyst, let's call them. I don't know what to call them. I think that's the only thing. If you can get that out of any sort of penny stocking service or any sort of alert service, it's worth it. But if you're not getting anything out of it and following it blindly, personally, I feel it is not worth it. It is not worth your time. You're wasting your money and making somebody else richer.
Absolutely. So, having said that, how much have you lost total once you started trading?
Man, I'm a little embarrassed to admit this, but it has to be around $12,000 to $13,000 over the last 5 years. What about yourself?
For me, I've lost a little bit over $1,000, and to be honest, I am perfectly okay with that, considering the fact that college tuition could be 10, 20, 30, even 40 times that for a year, and considering I want to make trading my full-time job, I am more than okay paying $1,000 for my tuition. So, switching topics a little bit here, what would you say is your main motivation for trading?
So my motivation is that I want to be able to dictate more of my life. With my 9-to-5 job, life is just so routine and I hate it. It consists of me leaving my house in the morning at 6:30, getting home around 5:30, 5:45. I mean, that's 11 hours of my day just gone that I will never get back with my family, with my friends, with any of my other obligations that I have. So although I like my job and employer, I can't allow myself to give up a majority of my life to a 9-to-5 job. So for me, it's not about the money. It's about having the lifestyle where I can enjoy it when I can, instead of working until I'm 65 years old and then too old or sick to enjoy it. What about you?
Absolutely. Yeah, and kind of backpacking off that, life is way more valuable than sitting at a desk for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. We're just slaving our lives away for 40 years of our life. I mean, there's no reason to do that when you can be a trader and trade, maybe 1 to 2 to 3 hours a day and have the rest of your day off. And if you have a good day, you can have the rest of the week off. And the beauty of it all is you can do this literally anywhere on the face of this earth. And that's what I love. The freedom to be able to move anywhere and yet still collect a paycheck every month.
You're absolutely right, but that freedom does come at a cost. So with that said, what's been the single most difficult thing you faced since you started trading?
That would be not finding my consistency yet. It is just a huge mental toll that I cannot be profitable from trading yet. I've spent hours and hours and hours and sleepless nights studying the markets and doing everything I can to up my game in trading. And having lost over $1,000 already, it sucks. It really does. But you do learn a lot about yourself when you start trading. You feel things that you've never felt before, and it's honestly quite an experience. It's the only job in the world where you can actually lose money, besides poker, but we're not poker players. But there's a positive side to that. Like I said before, you can literally do this anywhere around the world, and considering the fact that you can make a year's worth of salary in one day, you bet that I'll be chomping at the bit in order to make that happen. What about you?
I gotta say, feeling like a failure to the point that I felt nauseous, frustrated, and depressed all at the same time. It was like having something you spent an enormous amount of time on and put your hardest work into, and that thing's been snatched away from you. And, it's not a good feeling, and trading is an emotional roller coaster, and dealing with the emotions is the hardest part for me about being on this journey. And I'm actually glad that it's the feeling of failure that's the worst thing, because I probably would feel even worse than that if I ever had the feeling of quitting. And that's not an option right now, and I've never thought about quitting. So given that, I'm actually pretty happy that failure is the worst thing that I've faced so far, because I would be even more devastated if I ever came to the point of quitting, which I don't think I'll get to, ever.
Well, there you have it, folks. Thank you for listening to the Trader's Journey podcast. Please leave a comment and let us know what you thought about the first episode. We'd love to hear about your journey so far, and let us know what you'd like for us to talk about in future episodes. If you're watching this podcast on YouTube, please leave a like and hit the subscribe button. If you're listening to this on a podcast platform, make sure to leave a rating and comment as well. We'll catch you in the next episode of the Trader's Journey podcast.